you hear about that? I want to be like Greg Popovich. Greg Popovich $11,000.
I could believe it.
That's never gonna. You guys ever think that's ever gonna happen in your lives? Like what Greg Popovich did with coaching $11,000,
Yeah, it'll happen somewhere.
Not gonna happen in my lifetime.
Not
Well, we're not Celtics fans.
No, I'm talking about you give it to them.
oh yeah.
So I gave Christina $100. Now I'm trying to figure out when I give more. I want to give more than that.
Yeah, but you're a 10. That's a 10.
You asked me if I've ever sucked my own dick or if I ever tried. 'Cause I did try. I tried it one time.
Okay, Mike, your turn.
Yeah, so we're gonna talk about that, I guess. We'll see how that goes. Oh boy. This is
Oh man, this is gonna be rough. This is gonna be rough.
Welcome into the Sports Buffoons Podcast. Yo, let's get it going out there, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Welcome on in back once again to the Sports Buffoon Studios. These guys are out here getting it down with the nitty gritty, a little bit of shaking up in here. I don't know what he's doing. He looks like he's doing the Donald Trump, this one. He's doing the double fist Donald Trump dance, I think is what he's doing. So
The last time I checked, Trump could never do anything that comes close to that.
Donald Trump
he's not
did
on
one of
my
these.
level.
Do you remember when Donald Trump did this dance?
I don't
It
care.
reminded me like a fast version of that one.
He's not on my level. That's
Okay.
a different level, man.
I mean, maybe in
He's
his
got some
prime.
work to do.
In his prime, maybe he was.
I
on
can
your
coach
level.
him if you want me to coach him. I'll
That's
coach
pretty
that
rough,
guy.
You
guys.
can
It's
try to
pretty
work
rough.
on that. Anyways, guys, welcome on in here in Lenexa, Kansas. Of course, back again in the main studio hub here. I got Jason JG to my left and Tanner Dawson to my right.
Yeah,
What's going on,
yes.
fellas? How you doing?
What's going on, guys?
Never been
well,
better, man.
Yeah,
Never been better.
doing pretty good, man. I love the fact we're starting the show with daylight still out.
I'm just happy that
Believe it or
we're.
not, yeah,
That's awesome.
I'm just happy that we're starting the show again dry, man. I love to do dry shows.
Mhm.
It's one of the best
What's-
days of my life,
what's-
man.
Absolutely.
How you guys feeling right now?
What's dry shows?
It was also
Dry is when you drink water or non-alcoholic beer the entire day before we start.
it was
Yeah,
also nice
Totally
going.
dry.
So we went out to Hy-Vee for dinner tonight, and it was nice having a $10 tab because of the dryness. And so, therefore, when you're not spending money on alcohol, I mean, your tabs are a lot cheaper. So, $10 tabs are
I
nice.
sure hope our audience members know better than that by now.
Better than what?
Than what you guys. Are
They should
talking
go to Hy-Vee too. It's cheap.
about. I'm saying they
Good
should
food,
know
too.
better by now from what you guys are talking about.
I don't know.
Can we just talk about sports
this is
every
an
once in a while,
NA.
Tanner? Like,
I got
are
an NA
you?
margarita?
We got to get
So-
a hold of this producer over here. He's full of shit.
I don't-
He
well,
doesn't want to talk
Tanner's the
about
one getting-
sports.
Tanner's one getting toasted over here with his new glorious.
Just talk about
Uh,
sports, damn it. Come
well,
on.
Okay, let's go around the ring here, guys. Before we get
Jiminy
get
Christmas.
going here, we're gonna talk a little NBA. We're gonna talk a little bit of NFL for a minute. But Tanner, what are you sipping on first and foremost?
Moon Man.
What the hell is that?
New Glarus Brewing Company. It's a pale ale there up in Wisconsin when I was up there last month for it. It's a fabulous pale ale beer. Really great, actually. A no coast pale ale is what it's called. So I actually went to Limitless before this show. I was on with Ashton Cole from Let's Talk Sports. One of the young kids that's over on the East Coast that sits there. Fabulous kid. Love the kid. He does really well. So I was happy to be on his show, and it was a blast. It was a blast while I was there.
Gotcha. So now I'm more curious though about Wisconsin though, Tanner, because if I go out there, man, I want to try all the cheeses. I mean, please tell me you tried some cheese while you were there.
Look, these cheese curds I had, I'll show you guys pictures too. I'll try to post it. We went to a place called like Milwaukee's Best Burgers or something like that, not too far from where we were. And these we had ordered cheese curds because like you're in Milwaukee, ordered cheese curds, right? These cheese curds came out like this freaking big.
Big old ball.
Oh, dude, it was insane. It was like full of cheese, and I mean, it was delicious. It's the best cheese curd I ever had. But like the size of it just threw me off of it. So it was really good.
Wait a second. The
The
size of
size.
it threw you off. Is that what
Yes.
she said?
That's what she said.
The
Now,
size.
but how
threw
excited
off
would
a
you
little
be
bit.
if you got your cheese curds and they
Speak-
were, the size of a fist?
Hey, speaking of which, our guy Tuffel's here, fellers. house.
Tufel, welcome on in, Tufel.
Tufel's
Good
in
to
the
see you
house.
again. I'm sure he's happy also that he can go to bed at a good time without starting earlier.
He probably is happy about that.
So that's true. Yeah. Anyways, I know you love cheese curds, Jason. Would you be really excited if you went to Wisconsin and had a cheese curd the size of a fist?
Like legit.
I love it, man. But I was telling one of my counterparts earlier today. I was like, man, you don't have to do a whole lot to get the experience of Wisconsin cheese. You just have to go buy a Tombstone pizza. It's in the freezer, man. Go to the grocery store, hit up the freezer, go buy a Tombstone pizza.
Tombstone's pretty good. I'm a
It-
fan.
it's
I'm a fan
good.
of Tombstone.
They've
but I'm
been
not
doing this
thinking-
shit for
I'm
20
not thinking Wisconsin of it.
No, they use real Wisconsin cheese. They've been doing this shit for 20 to 25 years.
Is that why
Never
it's
thought
so good?
Wisconsin of it.
It's
I don't-
amazing.
I like Tombstone. That's a good brand.
Tombstone and DiGiorno.
Okay.
It's the same
sure.
fucking
Okay.
company.
Tufel says, "Don't trust anyone that doesn't like cheese." That's very true.
Yeah, that's probably a
Don't
good
trust
point. I
anyone.
don't really know people other than the people that are lactose intolerant. Like I don't really know anyone that doesn't like cheese.
Yeah.
Like what maybe we're all like as humans, we're just big mice.
I know a lot of people that don't love cheese like I love it. They pretend to like it and they piss me off. So
What was
you need to be wary of those people who
You go down to
pretend like
Osceola,
it.
Osceola, Missouri, and have some cheese down. I
Like-
love going to Osceola.
like what was that salad you said a year ago? It was for Jason. Jason ordered a salad.
Well, Jason does not like getting chicken on a
Yeah,
salad.
so
he
he's like-
gets
he's like,
extra cheese
no
instead.
chicken, no
Well,
something
pretty
else.
much no meat really. But today he had no meat. In fact, the waitress ate the meat instead.
Yes.
She literally ate his meat. Hope you guys don't take that the wrong way. She gargled it right down, but he had all the cheese.
So to be clear, I want to be crystal clear here. She did not beat my meat, but she ate my meat. It's a little bit different
She
story.
took advantage of your meat because
you guys
said,
all know the saying,
well, think about it.
This person beat my meat. She did not beat my meat.
well,
So
she took advantage of the fact that you didn't want your
she
meat.
took the chicken off of my plate because she was hungry. She wanted to have some dinner.
Oh,
Meanwhile,
no.
I was ready to get hammered.
and
But I'm actually dry today. Like
Yeah,
I'm
so-
still drinking
he
these
had
non
cheese all over the
today.
place.
To answer your question, Mike,
You're not
I am
trying
drinking
to.
a non-alcoholic wine over here. I've got a non-alcoholic Pinot Grigio.
Oh.
I don't understand why it takes us this long. When you ask a simple question like that, we have to go all around the world to answer
All
a
right.
simple question.
We're 15 minutes.
I've got a
in.
non-alcoholic Pinot Grigio.
We're now
Please move on.
We're now 16 minutes in right now. It is-
Please move on and talk
even
about sports, damn it.
Tufel says even lactose intolerant people love cheese. And also, by the way, I believe he's talking about the Stanley Cup playoffs here. Toronto's up 2-0 just now, by the way. That's
Oh.
insane. And then
See-
Tufel just stated wine is already bad. It's only saving grace is getting you hammered on cheap. Why get a non-alcoholic version?
Well,
that's
it's basically grape juice, right?
I will
At
tell
that
you
point.
this. I will tell you this. There are those people in the world who get DUIs and they're not allowed to drink for a long period of time. And there are other people who have health issues and they can't drink alcohol. And so this is a way for you to still get the enjoyment of liquor or beer or what have
Lord.
you.
Have mercy, guys.
But
Have
you know,
mercy.
just have some respect for
Just-
those people who
just-
can't drink.
Just
You know,
all right.
I'm not one of those people, but I'm trying to support those people
I'm
in the
still
world
too-
who
We-
can't drink.
Well,
I'm sure Tufel won't move on here, but let's go and move on.
I would much prefer that we talk about hockey than continue
You know,
this
that's-
conversation. That,
Tufel
what
brings
the
up a
fuck
good
you guys
point,
started
though.
right now.
Tufel brings up a good point, though, with the hockey because, you know, I personally love hockey. I know you guys don't watch NHL at all, really. So, I mean, it's hard for us to sit here and have a whole lot of topics.
I'm a Las Vegas fan.
Um,
I do love the Golden Knights.
Tufel out here
I
says
love the Golden Knights.
Tufel says
my
out here,
team.
I don't trust drink opinions from a non-alcoholic wine drinker and one that drinks hug barrels.
hug barrels. What is
Hug
it?
barrels.
What does that mean?
Tufel, please define this
I
hug
don't know.
barrels.
I don't know what hug barrels means.
I've never heard of that.
I don't know. Guys, there is a current NBA game on as of right now. as a
Is there
matter of
really?
fact.
Oh yeah,
I
I'm
get that.
shocked by that.
I mean, obviously, the NBA playoffs are full swing at this point. A lot's going on. A lot of interesting dynamics have unfolded now over the past couple of weeks. Yeah, as of right now, it looks like the Heat are down by 11, 71-82 versus the Knicks. But that series has not gone in the Knicks' favor at all so far to this point. I mean, is it something that shocks you guys looking at this thing over? Because to me, I do want to point out one thing. If you look at a points per game basis, the Heat had the worst offense in the entire league this year. I don't know if that's something you guys are aware of or if it matters or it's just irrelevant. I don't know. You guys tell me. But I think that we've seen the best version of the Heat so far in the playoffs. And when we talk about playoff Jimmy Buckets, the guy shows up in big moments. And, you know, this game's far from over yet. So I would not put it past him to have a little comeback here in the fourth quarter. But to this point, it's been a great playoffs. It's been very enjoyable. I've been sitting on the edge of my seat watching the Suns, and I'm hoping we can get back to 3-3 now on Thursday. But let's talk about the Heat for just a moment here as they are going live. How do you guys feel about this series, and what do we need to look forward to here?
But I think there's a lot of things going on here in this series. I think the national narrative is like, what do the New York Knicks need to do to move forward? So a lot of people are sitting out there and they're thinking that this series is over. And I actually agree with you. It actually is over because Jimmy Buckets is going to win this series no matter what. I don't care if it happens in 5 games, 6 games, 7 games, what have you. Jimmy Buckets actually tweeted it out after he beat the Milwaukee Bucks, who were the #1 seed in the East. Jimmy Buckets tweeted it out. We will beat the New York Knicks in the next series in 5 games. Okay, so you can take that for what it's worth. I actually think they have a chance right now because the Heat were down. I don't know if you guys have been watching this game. Right now, it's the end of the third. They're only down 10. Miami was actually down 20 points in this fucking game. Okay. So this is something you should take seriously because the New York Knicks are reeling right now. They're not healthy. Jalen Brunson is not 100%. Julius Randle, God knows, is not 100%. And we don't know who's going to be on this team at the end of this year, going into next year. The Knicks are reeling right now. And I actually think the Heat have a chance to win this game because Jimmy Butler is a killer. Okay. He's been to the NBA finals before, and he's an absolute killer. And I just want to know you guys' thoughts. I don't even care about this series. Okay. We can sit here and analyze this series all day long. Okay. It's game 5. Nobody gives a shit. We all know which team is going to win the series. The Heat are down by 10. The Knicks are fucking pieces of shit. The more important subject here is what would you do if Jimmy Butler was still on the Philadelphia 76ers with Joel Embiid?
Be undefeated, dude.
With Tyrese Maxey.
And James Harden?
With James Harden. Now,
Well, hold on. How far back
the other
are we going
motherfucker
here? 'Cause,
I
wouldn't
mean,
be
we're
there.
going 2-3
Okay.
years here.
So let's talk
No,
about
actually, 2020, it was the Heat debut of Jimmy Butler. So we're
Yeah.
talking about 19.
That's
here.
That's what I was about to say. Is
Let's-
like
that's
this
a
is
ways
a whole
away,
different
dude.
dynamic.
Okay,
man.
let me just set it up for you here first. So Tobias Harris would not be there because Tobias Harris is a max player. So he would not be on that roster right now. But let's just do a hypothetical here. Let's just say Jimmy Butler was still on the Sixers with Joel Embiid, with James Harden, and with Tyrese Maxey. Do they not win 3 championships in a row? Do they not win a minimum of 2 championships? Because my point would be they're going to win 2 rings no matter what. If they would have kept that guy on the team. Now, before you speak, Tanner, you do understand, right, that they made a decision.
Oh, yeah.
And the decision was we would rather keep Ben Simmons on the roster than keep Jimmy Butler on that fucking roster.
Yes.
Do you think that was a good decision, Tanner?
I don't.
Or do you think we've got some people who need to get their heads examined?
Can I throw this out there for you? It wasn't Embiid. I'm going to say it was everybody else, including the coach, that it was the same reason why Butler wasn't on Minnesota to stay with at all. It was because of his work ethic. It was his effort, his competition. It was the same thing in Philadelphia. Embiid, I believe at the time still, he was off and on being hurt at the time as well in 2019. And this was an issue because Butler was a star player. Butler is a superstar at this point, right? And we all know it. But his work ethic and his practice ethic relates to, you could even say like a Kobe Bryant at this point. And that was the whole reason why he's not a Timberwolf. That's the whole reason why he's not a 76er. And the whole reason the Heat took him, because you had dogs like that.
So I think the point that you're trying to make here is that when Jimmy Butler was on the Philadelphia 76ers, he could see back then that Ben Simmons was, for lack of a better word, a piece of shit.
Correct.
And he didn't want to be there.
He didn't want to deal with it. But also the 76ers didn't want to deal with him because he was the one pushing Ben Simmons at the time. He was the one pushing the other players on the roster at the time, Seth Curry, other guys like that. And that was the reason why Jimmy Butler ended up in Miami. This is a guy that you don't just take off your roster. This isn't because of talent. This is because of he's considered toxic because of his work ethic.
It sounds to me like he's got some motivational issues, and it comes hot and cold.
What's the motivational issues?
Well, think about it. I mean, you want to perform for one team, but then the other team you want to.
No.
I mean,
this is nothing about that.
Randy Moss with the Raiders. I mean, what is this?
Let's talk about the Timberwolves, right? His short stint in Minnesota. He got criticized hardcore because he beat the first team offense and defense with the second team offense, with this second team regime. This is a guy that has dynamically tried to improve his team and continuously gets criticized for it because he works too hard on this NBA team. He criticizes too hard. He tries to bring his team up.
Okay.
And players and coaches hate it.
Let me
he's
ju-
the guy.
I want to
Okay, I
ask
see what
you.
you're saying
Let me
now.
just ask you this, Mike. Do you think that the Philadelphia 76ers made a mistake when they decided to keep Ben Simmons and get rid of Jimmy Butler?
In case you didn't see
Because
that
I
video.
think it's kind of a rhetorical question, but at the same time, I feel like Jimmy Butler is a guy that saw this little piece of shit that we all know today does not want to play the game of basketball. Okay.
Is he playing?
And when I say that, when I call him a piece of shit, I say that with all due respect. Okay, just to be clear. But is that something that Jimmy Butler saw in Ben Simmons when he was on the Sixers? Or is that like, did he foresee this coming where basically Ben Simmons' career was going to be over before it even started?
Well, maybe that's the case. For a guy like that, I mean, maybe that's part of his problem and why he's had. You know, if you think about his career, and he's been a great player now for quite a while, but he's bounced around quite a bit. And normally, when you have an elite player, they don't bounce around that
They
often.
never.
I mean, you know,
Never.
you got a team, and they don't want to let you go because you're literally the elite. You're the leader of the team. So, like, why is a guy who is such a leader, who is looked at as the man and one of the superstars of the league, a guy that bounces around from team to team so frequently?
I will tell you, the only time that happens is when you are on the Minnesota Timberwolves with Karl Anthony Towns and no leadership on that team. Then you go to the Philadelphia 76ers where you've got a guy like Ben Simmons who doesn't really care about basketball that much. That's the only scenario where you start to
So,
bounce around like that.
I got a question for you, JG. Kobe Bryant, let's say for some reason was on the Minnesota Timberwolves at this time, and the 76ers, that Jimmy Butler's path, like his path so far. Is he the one bouncing around as well? You think Kobe Bryant gets bounced around as well?
I think he would.
Yeah.
But I also think that Kobe is the same sort of dog as
As
Jimmy
Jimmy.
Butler.
Yep.
So Jimmy Butler is doing something right now that Kobe really never had the opportunity to do. So Kobe had a little bit of an advantage because he was on a great organization
He had
to where
the organization had his back. The whole entire time.
they would put the pieces around him.
Exactly.
And I think that Jimmy Butler is basically that version of Kobe Bryant where he didn't really have the pieces around him, where he was the only dog in the vicinity of his whole fucking team. And now all of a sudden you got to put that team on your back. Jimmy Butler has already been to the finals, dude. And if people want to say, oh, well, that was in the bubble. Well,
Dude, don't get out of here with the bubble stuff.
like they played the Lakers in the bubble and they were in the finals. Like that means more to me in terms of Jimmy Butler than it does in terms of LeBron and AD.
Could you imagine a Jimmy Butler, Anthony Edwards combo right now in Minnesota?
I can.
Outside of Anthony Edwards,
I can,
personal
but like
issues.
it's useless to me because they still brought in Rudy Gobert
well,
and they gave away 5
you wouldn't have
draft
brought in Rudy
picks.
Gobert. You wouldn't have brought in Mike Conley. You probably should have got rid of Anthony Towns at the time, and you kept your guy that's actually out practicing your first team.
Yeah. And I do see your perspective there, Tanner. And I think they would have made some noise.
That would have been some insane stuff.
They would have made some noise. And I think that Jimmy Butler would have made a huge impact on Anthony Edwards' career.
Correct.
But
As
Anthony
a player,
Anthony
and a
Edwards is
person.
still young. I mean, he's still young. So
But now he's got that allegation against him, and it's not. It's literally the leadership of Minnesota right now, where you don't have a veteran presence that's going to call you out for being don't do shit, don't do stupid shit, and now you're in trouble with something personal.
But to
going
your
on in your life.
point, if Jimmy Butler was on that team,
You wouldn't have.
he
that.
would have never got to that point.
never got.
That would have never happened because it's all about culture. And we talk about this in the
Yes.
NFL all the time. We can talk about it with the Chiefs. I mean, you've got to be in the right culture. When you draft a quarterback, let's just take the Houston Texans, for example. They drafted CJ Stroud.
Yep.
Okay. And we don't know which way that's going to go. Well, I'm going to tell you which way it's going to go. Are you in a good culture? Do you have a great coach? Do you have a great team around you? Have a great roster? Or do you have a coach and an organization who doesn't really know what the hell they're doing?
Yeah.
And so that's kind of the situation that Anthony Edwards is in right now, because we all know from experience, the Minnesota Timberwolves have never done shit, right? So
That's true.
Kevin Garnett had to get the fuck out of there, even though he wasted half of his career in Minnesota, that was a trash organization, and he got the hell out of there. And props to him. He made good on his career, and that's my biggest fear for a guy like Anthony Edwards, because
No, he's stuck in Minnesota.
you don't want to stay there too long, dude. You don't want to stay there too
Think
long.
of KG, right? KG, Minnesota. He got out to the Celtics finally, and he ended up winning a championship.
Yeah, but if he would have done that sooner,
He would have definitely won a championship more than once or twice there.
he could have had 2 or 3.
Yeah,
man, but he waited too long. So,
Guys, let's circle back around on these heat topic here at the end of the game.
By the way, real quick, I do want to share the talk about the hugs.
Oh yeah,
hug barrels.
What's that?
So you'll see on the screen here. Actually,
Well, Tanner, normally you have a screen in front of me.
I know.
Our producer is.
So hug barrels are the, like, Jason, you can see behind you here. It's the juice box barrels that we used to have back in the day.
I remember him now.
So that is what he's talking about with the hug barrels.
Yeah, I remember those
Huggy
times.
Bear.
I don't know if I remember seeing these.
The Huggy Bear.
I don't know that I remember.
Unbelievable.
We'll save that for later.
Yeah, we will.
I don't.
Now we get
I
it.
don't remember that I
now
ever
we get
drank
it.
one though. Like I saw those. I remember those when I was a kid, but I don't know that I ever drank one. I can't really remember.
I drank plenty of those, so not.
Okay.
I mean, obviously not alcoholic vibes, but I drank
but-
plenty of those. But he's saying there's a streamer out there that does this during the stream.
He does what?
He drinks those hug barrels.
Drinks them during. Okay, is it
Yeah,
like a
that's what he's thinking of.
Is it
Of
a
your
Twitch
guys'
streamer?
Yeah, probably a Twitch streamer.
Because Twitch has some weird,
so
fucked up
Truthful's
people.
on Twitch, so it's a Twitch streamer probably. But you guys are on like your wine little deals here and there. That's why you related to the hug.
I got a non-alcoholic margarita and a non-alcoholic Hercules double IPA.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. I will tell you what, Tanner. The Huggy Bear did a few things in college basketball this week. I'm
Dude,
not
we're
gonna
totally
get into
not
that.
not
All right, guys, we'll circle back
move
around
on.
to the Heat stuff
Let's
here
move
later
on.
on. We got 9 minutes left in that game, guys. We'll get to it at the end of the show. Let's talk about a game that's got the tip off here at the end of the show, as a matter of fact, and that is Golden State going up against the Lakers. Coming up on game
Big
6?
time. Game five.
Game five. Okay. So guys, we saw a crazy ending this 2 nights ago. I don't know if you guys are all watching, but like I saw Steph Curry personally, like he choked in my opinion. And the way that thing unfolded, and they had opportunities at the end. And if you go back and you might look at his points and go, oh, well, he had a triple double. It looks good on paper, right? I mean, look at the stats he just put up, guys. First of all, he was 12 of 30 and then 3 for 14 from 3-point range. He was being careless with the ball and making some shots that were just ridiculous, like unnecessary type shots. And yes, he was trying to be Superman at some points, and he's made it work in the past. He's made, here and there it's happened. But there is this misconception right now going around about Steph Curry and the idea that he is some kind of clutch performer. And the truth is, if you really, really dig into game by game, that's not the case anytime recently. And I want you guys to understand that before we have this discussion, is that he might have been at one point, but lately it's not been the case. And the way that they handled the end of that game just 2 nights ago was pretty awful. But with that said, the Lakers are rolling pretty well. I think LeBron's playing decently. I think that what we're seeing is the Warriors are trying to play a certain type of basketball that they've been playing for a long, long time. And when it's not clicking, it's not clicking. When it is, it's fire. And we're seeing a very hot and cold version of themselves at the moment. And Klay Thompson's still, jacking up threes. He's doing his normal thing. But there's something missing. There's something missing from this team. And I'm not exactly sure what it is, but I'd love to hear what you have to say, Tanner. Go ahead.
I pointed it out to you guys last week, right? I asked you guys this question. Does the Poole Draymond incident come back into effect?
Well,
I think it's coming back into effect
Tanner,
right
Poole
now.
had 0 points scored.
I think it's coming back to effect.
He was 0 for 4 in the last.
I'm telling you,
game.
like off-season drama eventually catches up to you. And I feel like this Golden State team is starting to catch up to them at the wrong time.
And I want you guys to talk about for a minute here. Why was he not part of the starting group in this game? Because we saw a guy,
Steve Kerr,
who's not
Draymond Green.
Well, but we saw a guy starting in this matchup 2 nights ago. That's
Oh,
not
God.
normally a starter for this team, for
Don't.
this roster, right, Jason?
Yeah.
Bad.
So I want to look at the big picture here, because I think everybody nationally is looking at the point where, Draymond Green punched him in the face beginning of the year, and I think a little bit too much is made of that. We need to just look at this one game right now. So the last game, it was Lakers 104-101. And Steph Curry, and I agree with you, Mike. Steph Curry took some ill-advised shots in that game. However, let's look at the box score because nobody really did shit in that game. Gary Payton II was in the starting lineup. I have no idea why. That's got to go out the window.
Try and start some new. Okay.
The second leading scorer in that game was Andrew Wiggins with 17 points. Klay Thompson had 9. Draymond Green had 8.
Peyton with 15.
You already alluded to Jordan Poole with 0.
DaVincio with 10.
So I feel like this is kind of one of those games where you can just throw it out the window. I understand the Lakers are up 3-1, but nobody did shit in this game. And so while I agree with you, Steph Curry took some ill-advised shots in that game. He had no help. All right. And so you look at a guy like LeBron James. I know you guys don't want to admit it, but in all of his championships, he needed some fucking help. He needed some help in all of those championships.
He needs it this time.
Nobody wants to admit it, but
They're
he
giving
needed
him
some
help this time.
And so right now we're looking at game 4. Steph Curry had 31 points and everybody else shit the bed. Okay. So
I mean, here's the thing. If you shoot the ball 30 times, I would hope you can get close to 30 points, though, no matter who you are.
At least a point per shot.
I'm serious. Like, look at his percentage. It's awful.
But
he
was not helping you, though. So the Lakers are actually playing really good defense.
What are we talking about right now, Jason? Are we talking about LeBron or Stephon?
So the LA Lakers,
because that's what I feel like we're talking about.
The LA Lakers going to the playoffs were playing one of the best defensive teams in the league. And so if you're on the Warriors, you've got to have a little bit of help. You have to at least have one supporting cast member who can give you something.
You roast LeBron for these numbers. 12 for 30 in the field goals attempt, 40% shooting percentage, 3 for 14 and then 21% field goal percentage and 3 points.
It's one fucking guy.
You roast this guy. 10 rebounds, 14 assists for him, 31 still plus positive points for Stephen Curry. But you roast LeBron for this. You can't just flip it around. You say he's the best player in Akron. Like, what's the difference here? I thought they were the same kind of player.
Like I said, it's one fucking guy.
He was pretty
okay.
So we talk about LeBron. He was pretty careless.
We talk about LeBron
careless in a series where they can't afford, especially if you guys saw the ending of that game, the way he mishandled the ball. I mean, that cost the team the game. It did. He was a dud in the fourth quarter of this game. He was shit.
But the reason why he was a dud is because he had no supporting cast. Nobody gave a shit about the game. They are down.
It's the playoffs.
Wait.
Every year we talk about regular season, how no one cares until the playoffs. It's the fucking playoffs now.
It's the playoffs.
It's time to care.
But we talk about LeBron.
That's my whole point.
LeBron may not have supporting cast, but yet we don't.
You've got to figure out. But you've got to figure out why they don't give a shit.
But why doesn't LeBron seem to give a shit?
Why does Jordan Poole score 0 points and
Jordan Poole plays 10 minutes because Steve Kerr isn't coaching correctly?
Right. If you guys think this is a Jordan Poole, Draymond Green thing, why did Jordan Poole have 0 and Draymond Green had 8 points? Draymond Green didn't do shit.
Well, Jordan Poole's over 4.
Lottie freaking da. Draymond Green, you had 10 fucking rebounds, but you didn't win the fucking game. These guys are playing defense on the Lakers, okay? And I want to make one thing clear here. This series, the Lakers need to step on their throats right now.
Right now.
Fuck now. And
if you're gonna do it, you do it tonight.
You guys don't think this is a big deal. This is a huge deal.
Massive deal.
This has, everything written all over it because we always talk about on this show, it's Steph Curry versus LeBron. Who's the greatest player?
It's not
who's the best player in history? The best player in Akron? There's not a debate. It does not matter. This series matters, okay? And so they need to step on the Warriors' throat right now because do you want to know what's going to happen if they don't? Do you want to know what happens if the Warriors torch them in this game right now? Do you want to know that if the Lakers don't win game 6, it's over? So they have all of the pressure in the world. If the Lakers lose game 5, they have all the pressure in the world. Do you understand that Anthony Davis has played 2 good games in a row? When's the last time you saw that happen?
Regular season, like 2 weeks before.
This fucking guy never shows up 2 games
not
in a row.
consecutive alone.
This guy, we are overdue, as a matter of fact, for a shitball Anthony Davis game. You guys haven't seen it in a few days.
It's time.
It's probably going to happen right now.
It can't happen today, though. It can't happen today for these Lakers.
And so the big question is, and this has been flopping around all day long, do the Lakers just go ahead and throw in the towel in this game, or do they go ahead and try to win? Because the theory out there, and I'm actually a proponent of my own theory, which is you should put all the marbles on the table, let the chips fall where they may. And if you're sitting there in the fourth quarter, right? You're 2 minutes into the fourth quarter, you're down by 20 to 25 points to the Warriors. That's the only time where you put these guys on the bench. And when I say these guys, I'm talking about LeBron James, Anthony Davis. But they have to try to win this game. They have to put the foot on the throat of the Warriors, because if you don't do it, you're going to have some problems here, because you do not let me be clear here. And you guys know, I know you guys take my betting advice and all that shit, and you probably should.
Well, we got to talk about that.
If you don't put your foot on the throat of the Warriors in this game, there's going to be some problems. There's going to be some problems, because I think the Warriors have what it takes. They've already proven it in that series with the Sacramento Kings. They're looking at themselves. When you look at yourself in the mirror, what do you say? You say, well, let's see. I beat the Kings 3 games in a row, and I've already proven in the playoffs I can win 3 games in a row. Do you not think I can do that against LeBron James and old-ass Anthony Davis, who's 30 years old and who is a declining player?
We're talking
going
about
into next
year.
They should probably trade
injured
his
Sacramento
ass.
Kings team, by the way. Their star player was injured those last 3 games.
It does not matter, Tanner.
It does matter.
No.
Because you got a healthy LeBron James. You got a healthy Anthony Davis.
They have
and a bench.
Here's what they have. They have the confidence that they've already won 3 games in a row in the playoffs. Do you not think, in your own mind, when you look in the mirror, do you not think that you can beat LeBron James?
Like, you're just sitting there staring at yourself like, we just beat an injured Sacramento King team. Now we're going to go beat the king of the NBA?
Especially if you are the defending champs and you're a guy like Steph Curry, who has already beaten LeBron James. He has nothing to prove.
Yes.
He's got nothing to prove against LeBron James.
We're talking about the same thing, Jason. We're talking about the same thing.
I cannot stress this enough.
Okay? We can't stress this enough. LeBron freaking James, you roast these numbers. You roast these numbers if they lose right now. 10 for 25, 40%
They're old as fuck,
percentage.
I'm telling you right now.
2 for 9, 22% from 3-point. You're talking about less than 10 rebounds a game, 6 assists, 3 turnovers,
this team,
27 positive differential. That is less than Steph Curry on the Golden State.
The Lakers.
If we talk about Golden State being up right now, you're roasting LeBron James in the Lakers team right now. You're saying they don't have enough. LeBron
Lakers,
doesn't have enough.
the Lakers are old as fuck.
No.
Okay.
Hey, look,
if they do
got
not
youth.
win,
They got youth.
you can mark my words right now. If they do not win Game 5, it's over, man.
You know who is
take it to the bank?
You know who it's up
Golden
to?
State all the way.
It's to the freaking Lakers coach. Don't put freaking Vanderbilt like you did in Game 2.
No,
Game 3.
It has nothing to do with the coach. The coach is doing a great job. Darvin Ham.
The matchups are.
He's a
some of the
defensive
matchups
mastermind,
are awful, dude.
No, the coach Darvin Ham of the Lakers. He's doing a fantastic.
It's having a dog on the bench.
Put it on the coach.
Having the dog on the bench. Schroeder was Game 1. Walker the 4th was last game. What, Game 4? So like we got crap going on here.
All right. So right quick, Tanner, let's talk about the Warriors side of this. So a lot of people are talking about the fact that if the Warriors actually lose this series, what are the changes that need to be made going into the next year? Because everybody wants to trade Jordan Poole and Andrew Wiggins. Colin Cowherd on his show today said, "Oh, I'm giving away Poole and Wiggins to bring in Jaylen Brown." And I'm sitting here saying like that, how stupid can you be? You've got Draymond Green. No, listen to me right quick before you go. Draymond Green is 33 years old. Jordan Poole is 23 years old, 10 years younger. Okay. You've got a young developing player who has already proven, i.e. last year's playoffs. If you go to last year's playoffs, Jordan Poole has already proven that he's a superstar talent.
Okay.
Would you rather get rid of the 23-year-old, or would you rather get rid of Draymond Green, who likes to, I don't know, do you like to get technical fouls and lose in the NBA Finals to a LeBron James when he's on the Cavs, or am I going too far back there?
I don't think you're going too far at all.
Draymond Green did lose that NBA Finals.
He did.
The last time I checked. And would you rather get rid of a guy like that who has problems getting technical fouls, who punched Jordan Poole in the face? You want to get rid of the 33-year-old or the 23-year-old? Because I feel like these little pieces of shits who are on ESPN, they want to get rid of the young guy, which makes absolutely no sense. A guy, by the way, who has already proven that he can play in this league, who he can pick up 30 points, 40 points a game, probably going to be the heir apparent to Steph Curry.
Do you know why they want to do that? Because they want to keep the core around. They want to keep the core around. They think
there's no core.
They think the Draymond.
There is no core.
The Draymond, Thompson, Curry core is tremendous. Guess what? I'm right there with you. Trade.
There is no core.
Get rid of Green.
Okay.
Get rid of Green.
Mike, I want your input on this because
get rid of Green.
I want Mike's input because my opinion is that there is no core. Do you know why there's no core? Because Klay Thompson.
There is a core because they won championships.
Listen to me. Klay Thompson and Draymond Green are the same age. They're 33 fucking years old, and fucking Steph Curry is 35, 36. That they're not getting any younger,
Curry's
dude.
35 already?
They're not getting any younger. This core is done. It is done. I don't care if you think Steph has 1 year, 2 years left. It is over. That window is over. Do you want to just give up? Do you want to just run this shit into the ground? Or do you want to see what Andrew Wiggins has at age 28?
No, I'm keeping Andrew Wiggins, dude.
Do you want to? No, but that's what these guys are saying. Trade away Wiggins. No. Do you want to keep a 28-year-old Andrew Wiggins and a 23-year-old Jordan Poole? Or do you want to keep this core together with these 33 and these 35-year-old guys where the window is closing? I'm not fucking doing it. And if anybody is in their right mind out there, just fucking wake up, okay? The window with these guys is over. Now, I believe in Steph Curry, but I do not believe in Draymond Green at 33. I do not believe in Klay Thompson at 33. Klay Thompson didn't do shit in that last game. And I hope to God he shows up in this next game, but the core is done. Stop talking to me about the core. It's over. I don't care. Nobody cares.
All right, real quick here. We got a couple comments here I want to put in. Just for fans, our podcast in Houston here says, roast Braun, do it. Roast Braun. Don't worry, it's coming.
We got
I'm
plenty
sure
of Braun roasting.
I'm sure it's coming, just fans. Don't you worry. Two Fly here says it's fun when you guys talk about basketball. It's like watching Charlie Brown and hearing the adults talk.
You know what?
I mean, I'm sure you guys know what you're talking about, but it's just glasses. My non-knowing eyes.
So here's the amazing thing right now. The amazing thing about roasting LeBron James is that this is one of those rare moments in my life that I can't do it.
You can't.
Right.
I can't fucking do it because if he beats Steph Curry in this series and he must win the ring.
He don't know.
I don't give a shit.
What are you talking about? You told me 2 weeks ago that Steph Curry, all he had to do was beat LeBron and he was better.
No. Hell no.
You told me that 2 weeks ago.
If LeBron beats Steph and gets the championship this year, he's got 5 fucking rings. That puts him on the level of the late, great Kobe Bryant. That means something to me. Okay? But
we'll talk about that when that comes to fruition. See what happens.
If you beat Steph Curry and shit the bed in the finals, okay, now you're just back to LeGM and LeLiar and LeFib and LeGon and LeGM and whatever the fuck nicknames you want to throw out there.
Okay.
Fun fact.
We're gonna take no. What's the fun fact?
What's your favorite, Mike?
Fun fact. Tufel says fun fact. I was banned from Twitter for 30 days for calling China.
China.
Oh my gosh,
guys! All right, let's take a timeout real quick from NBA talk, guys. We'll jump in again here towards the end.
Let's talk about those Chiefs.
We're talking about Chiefs. But first and foremost, I had a question for you guys. So, those of you out there listening, we never talk about NASCAR on the show, but I do watch NASCAR every weekend. I mean, it's my girlfriend's favorite sport, so her and I watch that. Of course, when football season's on and NASCAR's in there, I don't watch NASCAR during that. I mean, the football comes first for me. But this time of year, every Sunday, I watch NASCAR. And we had a situation in NASCAR where a driver named Ross Chastain and I think it was Noah Gragson is his name. They came off the track at the end of the race and all that. And apparently there was some beef between the two whenever they were walking up to each other. You saw Gragson walk up to Chastain. Chastain being a little bit more of a smaller guy. I mean, he's not a big guy. Some of these guys are like horse jockeys. They're real tiny. Walks up to him, and Gregson kind of shakes him like he's pissed off at him, like, talking about, why he made that move on him. And then Chastain is like, oh, what's your problem, man? What's your problem, man? And just decks him right in the face. And it was just like that. It made me think, like, NASCAR did nothing about this. NASCAR didn't give a shit that there was a legitimate punch to the face in their sport. They thought it was kind of funny, I think. I mean,
we're talking about a guy that finished 29th in this NASCAR race this last week.
Yes.
And the guy that didn't finish in even the top 36.
Yes, because of someone cutting each other off or whatever, causing an accident, whatever it was.
But he was so far apart. Like, Gragson won this twice now.
What?
He won this. Like,
What do you mean? He didn't win the race.
So Gragson run 29th, right?
Okay, yeah.
Whatever its name is. Wasn't even
Chastain was the other guy. He's the one who punched Gragson.
All right, just cut to the chase. Mike, what's your question about this shit?
No, so the reason I'm bringing this up, Tanner, is because NASCAR doesn't give a damn about guys fighting. We've seen this before. All this kind of stuff, all the antics that go around the sport when it comes to these kind of things. Hockey obviously has a long tenured known history of allowing fights on the ice rink. But I was just thinking to myself, like, when I saw this and how would the NFL have handled this? How would MLB have handled this? And I'm just curious, what sport we have currently would you like to see more fighting involved in? Like, what's something where we should just say, hey, let them fucking go at it, and we're gonna sit back and let it happen.
Didn't we talk about this one time?
We're not gonna fine anybody.
We talked about this one time.
Maybe
at least one.
This is a little different because, like, I'm just saying, we're not gonna fine anybody. We're not gonna suspend anybody. Whenever we have Jackass from the Nuggets coming up and causing trouble.
Oh yeah, you're talking about Joker here.
He got fined 20.
He's pushing.
Hold on. He got fined 25.
Get out of here, dude.
25K. He should have been fined.
He made up with the owner the next.
He should have been fined nothing.
Dude, he elbowed Markieff Morris in the back of the head.
I think we might need to allow more fighting in sports. So, guys, what sport would you say should have more fisticuffs?
I tell you what, man. Like, the NBA is my first love, as you guys well know, and they used to fight. They used to fight back in the day, and that was amazing. But while the NBA is my first love, my answer to this question has got to be MLB, because it's a dying sport, man. And I do not want to see the MLB die. I want to see it stay alive. And the only way in fact, it's funny. I think I've said this before on the show.
You did say it. Yes.
The only way to rescue the sport, and I don't, I hope that Rob Manfred is listening to me, because God knows nobody else is going to be listening to me. But the only way to rescue this sport, Rob Manfred, is to let it loose. What did we say back in the day when O.J. Simpson was in court? Let the juice loose. Rob Manfred, you need to let these guys loose. And I want to see bench clearing brawls.
Which means no suspensions, no fines. Let them do whatever the hell they want for 5 minutes.
And the thing about it is, like, baseball, they should be the ones to make this change happen, because they're the ones making the biggest changes right now. They've made so many changes over the course of the last year to try to save that sport. Let's take it to another level where we don't care about bench carrying brawls. Okay.
Now
we don't care. I want to see a fight. I want to see, when these benches clear, just let them go at it, because you know why? That's going to bring in more viewers. That's going to bring in this younger.
It might save the sport.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
I do fully understand what you're saying.
You guys understand, the younger generation, they don't give a fuck about the sport of baseball. You know what they will give a fuck about? If those motherfuckers start fighting. It will happen. That shit will happen. Bam. Overnight.
Next thing you know, everyone's watching baseball.
They'll start watching that shit.
Well, deal on baseball here, right? So they actually 2 or 3 years ago they outruled the cleat rule. You can't cleat players anymore.
Mm,
So the
can't do
violence
that.
was already
Gotta have
gone.
cleats down.
Go back and watch the movie Happy
you
Gilmore.
can't run over the
Right. You got to have cleats down during
Hey,
your slide.
you can't run over the catcher.
That's true. That
That's
used to be a great part of baseball,
It
by
used
the
to-
way.
Happy Gilmore. You remember that movie? He was the only guy that took
So
his cleat off. And
so
tried to
there's
stab
a bunch
somebody.
of stuff like that right now.
Imagine trying to run over Perez. He would have been net decking fools.
Perez would like he as happy as he is and joyful.
I'm just
I
saying, he's-
guarantee you come after him like that,
Yeah.
you're done.
You've been getting
You're
clocked.
done.
You've been getting clocked.
So like there's been moves made for players safety that I just gonna see that in motion. You know what I want to see? I want to see the NBA back in motion like it was in the 90s. I want to see more of that because guess what? I was still less than 10 going into that era, and I want to see that nowadays. I want to see a guy like Beverly be able to get into some kind of fist fight and not get thrown out right away.
Yeah.
You know,
Right.
No, I mean I agree with you. I mean I wish the NBA, I wish they would allow a little bit more defense, but in terms of the Major League Baseball, I mean I think that we can find some common ground between the old school people and the new school people. I feel like you could just let loose a little bit and have a few more fights. I still want to find a scenario where if the bench is clear, you know, you can still have a scenario where we try to shut it down, you know, to a certain extent.
You should not be allowed to use bats or pick up balls and just start playing some freaking.
Well,
you know,
okay,
no,
so
like there's
but, I mean,
limitations.
actually, you know what I mean? There should be some kind
There's
of
limitations.
So,
right, that has to be in place.
what do you guys think about this? So I think we've all watched a little bit of UFC
Yeah.
throughout the course of our lives. What if they made it like the UFC where a guy's getting ready to knock a guy out where he can't even fucking see straight, and then that's when the umpires step in and stop the fight.
Can we put it
Sure,
up like
if you're
what,
getting ready to knock the guy out, that's when we stop.
but like can we put up like what hockey
Sure.
does? You know what I mean? It's the same way, but hockey does. Essentially just
Well,
get in the way.
Hockey's
once
limited
things
a
happen.
little bit over the years. I mean, they're getting a little more passive with
They're-
it.
a little bit, but they're still letting you go at it.
Yeah, honestly,
So-
the best thing about hockey now is go to those like interleague games.
Yes.
Not NHL, but the
like
one
the Independence one
step
here
down or
and
whatever.
stuff like that.
they'll let you go at it all day if you want to. for a while.
So Jason's picks MLB, mine's NBA. What do you got?
Well, not to updo Tuffel's idea, but Special Olympics would be a lot of fun.
You just said I'm doing his idea. Are you kidding me?
I think that would be great if there was a time when Jamal Charles was involved in this special. Could you imagine him getting out there and you're just racing a guy and you just throw a freaking haymaker? You know, I mean, at some point
please
that'd be
don't,
badass.
please don't let my brother be watching the show. Troy, I had no part in the production of the show. Talk to the producers. I
think it'd be
part in that.
awesome.
That's-
Like
I
it
think-
would bring a different kind of atmosphere. ESPN would love it. I think draw a lot of attention. So yeah, I
Wow.
think it'd be great.
We've all gone off the rails here, so,
So, Okay,
let's
guys.
bring it back to a
Santa
little bit
Claus.
nervous here. What do you guys think about the All NBA first team? Right. So
No,
you want to talk about the NBA?
no,
All
real
NBA
quick.
first
I
team?
got commentary.
That was
So
terrible.
Mike was talking about.
Jeez.
I guess I'm at.
We're gonna- hey,
comments.
That's what we should do. We're gonna get we can just fight each other on this show
I mean,
because
sure.
that was bullshit what you just said. I don't
No,
agree
it's
with you. on that.
buffoons. I mean,
So
if there was a podcast for
Shit
Special
balls.
Olympics, would be on it.
so Tuffel's comment was
So
that
offensive,
the
man.
mic.
Why do you have to offend me like that? That's so
Jason-
offensive.
She said
I
has
don't know
no
why you're
idea
so
yet.
offended
She
by
says no idea. Tuffel's comment, by the way, that he was referencing was
that. I don't know. I don't know what he's talking about.
kids gymnastics and let him fight.
Oh well, yeah. I was not to outdo Tuffel's idea, but I think we both have quality ideas there. So, we're gonna okay.
All right, we gotta continue on here.
Let's
So he says the only way to save MLB is salary cap. And Tuffel says, I bet Nolan Ryan will come out of retirement to land a few more heaters.
All right, guys. So
We have Bo from Football Talk saying, how's it going, guys? Gold Gloves edition. You know it, dude. He says, I'm the only guy to remove my skating strap. Tried to stab someone. Yep.
All right, so I got it right now. I got it right now.
You got something else?
Tufel would
Big
pay. Hold on. Tufel would pay to watch the Special Olympics if they allowed
You
fighting.
Tufel
guys are
said-
fucking killing me, man. Shut the fuck up.
People said I would flat out pay for Special Olympic games.
I mean,
And we had fighting.
It would be
And
the
Timmy
top-
ain't taking no shit over here in the wheelchair launch show.
I'm just saying, it'd be amazing, wouldn't it?
All right, guys. So, what do you guys think about the All NBA first and second team? Because a lot of the talk out there was that, if Jaylen Brown didn't make the All NBA team, what's going to happen to him with the Celtics next year? And so, those teams have been announced. Okay. While these guys are over here laughing their ass off, they don't even have a fucking clue. I'm going to announce to you the NBA All First team, which is Giannis Antetokounmpo, Jason Tatum, Joel Embiid, Luka Doncic, and Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, my second favorite player in the NBA. But a lot of talk was out there about what's going to happen to Jaylen Brown. Is he going to leave the Celtics, or is he going to stay with them next year? Because Celtics, man, they've got their backs to the wall right now. They're down 3-2, and basically, I think the Sixers are going to beat them. They've got a shitty ass coach, and that's neither here nor there. That's a discussion for another day. But Jaylen Brown, the guy that is kind of the 1B to Jason Tatum's 1A, he made the All NBA second team, and so he is eligible now for a supermax contract.
Attaboy.
And so this is a great debate that we can talk about. Is like, do you think, based on our last week's discussion with all of the racism that goes on in the city of Boston and what have you, do you think Jaylen Brown is going to stay in Boston, or do you think he's going to go to another team? Because I got a lot of fuckers out there that think he's going to be traded to the Warriors. I don't think it's going to happen, but he is going to get traded somewhere. I do not believe he wants to stay there. They're going to get their ass kicked, dude.
Are the
This
Warriors
year-
going to trade him though? Like, would they sign a super max on him?
Well, let's ask this question first, because I do believe that Jaylen Brown wants out of there.
Yes.
But before that happens, we need to look at the series that's going on right now between Philadelphia and Boston, because I do believe that the Boston Celtics are imploding right now because they're losing 3-2. You've got the Philadelphia 76ers, and you got James Harden, you got Tyrese Maxey. Did you guys see Tyrese Maxey put up a fucking 30 burger in that last game?
He did.
Essentially, they've got a big three right now. James Harden didn't even show up in terms of scoring. Now, he was an amazing facilitator in that game, but he didn't even show up. He put up like 17 fucking points. So James Harden's probably going to show up in the next game. Boston's going to get knocked out. Now, you guys want to bet on this fucking series? It's over. Okay? Don't bet on Boston to win this fucking series. It's not going to happen. But in terms of next year, I personally do not want Jaylen Brown on this team next year, because even if you give him that big dick contract for being all NBA, you're still, as an organization, telling him, you're just the 1B to the 1A of Jason Tatum, because Jason Tatum is always going to be the face of the team. And Jaylen Brown, like, why would you want to be there? Like, I don't understand it. Why would you not want to go to another team? I disagree with the whole fucking Warriors shit, but send him to the fucking Knicks. The Knicks need a fucking superstar.
They would take
The
him.
Knicks would give up. They're not going to give up the farm for Jaylen Brown, but they would give up a whole lot for
think,
that fucker.
Dallas.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Luka Doncic needs somebody. He needs a running mate besides Kyrie Irving. But that's another story. But I feel like Jaylen Brown needs to go. And I feel like now that he's got that all NBA status on that second team, he's got to go somewhere. And I certainly don't believe he's going to go back to the Celtics, because the Celtics need to reset, man. But what do you guys think? You guys think the Celtics still have a chance in this series, or do you think they're butt fucked?
I think they do. They bought it in the offseason to try to get this roster stacked to go back to the finals and actually perform. You talked about needing a point guard. They got Derek White there.
There's no fucking coach.
I know that's the issue.
There's no fucking
Where-
coach. He's a piece of
Oh,
shit.
So hear me out. Okay. I think they still have a stand chance, but I talk about momentum all the time of teams that have momentum. And right now, the 76ers are drowning in momentum right now, leading in that series. I think the Celtics still have a chance to get at it, but they need a huge gains from Tatum, they need huge gains from Brown, and then huge gains from either Horford or Williams out there on the boards there to get some second chance. So period.
I'm going to end it with this. So we talked about Jason Tatum maybe going to the Knicks. I tell you what, there's a lot
Tatum
of
or Brown?
Jaylen Brown. There's a lot of Knicks fans out there that are really depressed right now because they know they're going to lose this fucking series. And so they're looking for the next step. And I've got a proposal on this show. And I believe that the best scenario for the New York Knicks is that they would make a trade for Giannis Antetokounmpo. Now, hear me out. The New York Knicks, they're not going anywhere, right? They've got Julius Randle and they've got Jalen Brunson. You know, they've got a good team, but they don't have a great team. And so I'm going to throw a trade out there because if you're in a position like Giannis Antetokounmpo, you're getting the hell out of there, right? You've got a bunch of guys in their 30s, all right? So Drew Holiday, Chris Middleton, they're all in their 30s. You got your championship. Well done, guys. You're never going to get another one. Your window is closed. So if I'm a guy like Giannis Antetokounmpo, I'm getting the hell out of there. If I'm a team like the New York Knicks, I've got the assets, right? I've got all of the draft picks. I've got all of the first-round draft picks. I can give you Emmanuel Quickly. I can give you Julius Randle. I'm not going to give up Jalen Brunson because that's going to be Giannis Antetokounmpo's running mate. But what do you guys think about that? If I can pair Giannis Antetokounmpo with Jalen Brunson and somehow maybe keep Emmanuel Quickly, get rid of Julius Randle because he's a good player, but he's not like a superstar player. If I can get rid of him and all those fucking draft picks, would you not try to make that deal with the Bucks?
I would, but you're also looking at the same factor of possibly the same thing we're looking at the Suns and Durant right now, where you give up a lot of the depth. And that's going to be tough in playoffs.
But I don't think they would give up that much depth because I think there's a way that you could keep a little bit of depth. I think there's a way that if you give up all of those draft picks, you could keep a guy like Emmanuel Quickly, who I think is an up-and-coming star point guard, and figure out a way to make it work. But, I think the Bucks their window is closed. And so I think, Giannis, he's got to get the hell out of there. And I think when you look at it from the perspective of the New York Knicks, they've already made a mistake. They made a huge mistake. You know why? They did not want to give up R.J. Barrett to get Donovan Mitchell.
Yeah.
Huge fucking mistake.
It was a huge mistake.
So the question, if I'm a New York Knicks fan, which I'm not, but from their perspective, did you not learn from your fucking mistakes? Did you not learn that you probably should have given up R.J. Barrett to get a guy like Donovan Mitchell? And so I don't know if Giannis is on the table, but if he is, give up R.J. Barrett, give up the farm, whatever the fuck you got to do. Keep Jalen Brunson and just see what the hell happens, man. Yeah. See what happens because the New York Knicks have not been relevant.
Well,
they haven't won a dude. The last championship the Knicks won was probably like the year I was born, dude. I'm 46 years old.
83?
I was born in the 70s.
70s. Wow.
They haven't won a championship
79s.
since the fucking 70s. So at least you know what? Just if you're the Knicks, just get your dick wet.
What do we talk about? Dame time too, right? Like Dame time has to leave Portland at some point, right?
Dame time, it pains me to say this. Dame time, if he doesn't leave immediately,
he's not winning championship.
He's irrelevant.
Yeah.
He's an irrelevant player.
Hall of Fame player?
That's sad. It's sad.
Hall of Fame?
Oh, yeah. No,
okay.
he's first ballot.
Okay.
first ballot Hall of Famer, but he'll never
Just
get a
the
ring.
unfortunate that he doesn't have a ring or anything like that.
No, I mean he's basically fucking Charles Barkley, Karl Malone.
Oh wow,
Different,
Yeah.
they're different positions, but
One
you
went to
know,
the
John
finals, right?
Stockton,
Yeah,
John
one went to the
Stockton,
finals, right?
you know, great fucking player, never won a ring. So that's
But
kind of the
but
legacy.
Dame's
that
never
he's
been
looking
to
at.
a finals, right? Either like conference or
No.
final, major finals.
Here's the problem with Dame. He's too loyal. And I respect guys that are loyal, and this goes across all sports. You can talk about hockey, NFL, NBA, MLB, I don't care. There's these guys that are loyal to a fault, and I respect them to a fault, right? But it does affect your legacy.
Yeah.
If you are loyal to a fault and you never get that championship, you know, you're leaving money on the table. Okay? So like that's my cuz I'm like a big time gambler,
Mhm.
right? You never want to leave money on the table, and that's what these guys are doing.
Yeah,
That's
they
what
are.
Charles Barkley did back
That's what they're doing.
He
right now.
left money on the table, and it was a different game back then. But nowadays, back then when Charles Barkley was playing, they didn't have the player mobility that players have now. Dame had his chance, man.
He did.
Dame had his chance,
Many
and
times.
he let it slide due
Many
to his
times.
loyalty, and I respect him. But when you have the player mobility that these guys have today, like Kawhi Leonard,
Let it go.
dude,
Let it go.
nobody. There's a lot of people they're not going to remember Kawhi Leonard. He's got 2 fucking rings.
Yep.
That's 2 more than Dame Lillard has. So, I mean, you have to embrace that player mobility and take advantage of it, and that's what I hope that Dame Lillard will do. But I fear for Dame Lillard, it might be a little bit too late for him.
All right. So, guys, we got a couple minutes left. What do we got?
No, I just want to give a quick wrap up. So the Heat did take a loss today to the Knicks. It was
Wow.
112 to 103. So they did their best effort to make a comeback. In fact, they were within 3 points at one point, but the Knicks just pulled away at the end. So that one's in the books right now. We're looking at Lakers Warriors underway. Lakers up 3-0. So now
Lakers by a billion. Dude.
looking forward to seeing how that game unfolds. Basically, I don't think we really have time to hit on too much else. So I think what do you guys think of Chris Jones trying to get Frank Clark on the Chiefs?
Hey, I'm for it, dude. Give me some
He-
depth. Give me
Chris-
a guy that's playoff veteran and everything.
So I just want to ask the expert over here. Can we afford Frank Clark for 2 years, 10 million?
Why
Because
would
I feel like that's
why would
that's
that
what's
be
on the
the
table.
number? Is it where'd you get that number from?
I just feel like the only thing that the Chiefs can afford right now is like a $3 million a
He's-
year,
He's
$5
not-
million
he's not
a year.
He's not a full-time player. He's a part-time player, and really we primarily need him for playoff runs, obviously. So I mean, in the meantime, we would have decent enough depth at this point at the end, to where he could just be a rotational piece. And rotational pieces who get 4.5 sacks a year, I mean, you're not going to pay him $5 million a year. So I don't really want him for. To me, it's got to be a 1-year deal again, and just bring him back kind of like we did last year, something similar to that. But the numbers got to fit, and it's got to make sense for the team. So I don't know about the whole 2 years, 10 million thing. I don't know if that would really make a whole lot of sense for.
So
the Chiefs.
you don't think we're going to bring him back then, right?
Sure, there's definitely a chance for it. I don't think it would make sense to bring him back for a 2-year contract. I also don't.
29. He's 29 years old.
He's
Do you
he's
think
30
too
now,
old?
isn't he? Well, if you watch the way he plays, he's an old man for his age. He's older than
'Cause
his body's older than his age.
So he's basically like he's 29 years old, but he's like an Anthony Davis. Like we talked about Anthony Davis being
Sure.
a 30-year-old, but he plays like he's 35 because
Yeah.
he injures his cock every other game.
Yeah, I mean, I could give you that's a fine comparison, I suppose. As far as he even though his age might say one thing, his body is older than his age says. But no, I'd like to have him back. Chris Jones, though, was pointing out on Twitter how he is going to every day continue to advocate to bring back Frank Clark the Shark until it happens. So
So
we'll
Chris
see.
Jones is the guy that needs to leave money on the table. Is that not true? Like he needs to give up a little bit of money to bring Frank Clark back.
Well,
I mean, technically he could, I
So
suppose.
we're looking at this here too. We technically have 2023 dead cap of Frank Clark from the signing bonus of 7.5 million. So we could technically turn that into something worthy of the Chiefs here. So 10 mil could be on the table.
Yeah, I don't know what I would think about doing a 2-year deal with him is all. I think
mean,
one more year would be fine.
Why not have a 2-year 10 mil deal? Like that's great contract worth, and you have a veteran presence on the defensive line
No, I'd love to have him back for a year.
for
That's
2
fine.
years. 2 years.
I don't know the point.
So here's the thing: would you rather have him, or would you rather have Jadeveon Clowney or Melvin?
2 years, Frank
Melvin,
Clark.
Would you rather have Melvin Ingram?
2 yards, Frank Clark.
Jadeveon Clowney, and
Well,
all those fucks.
Melvin Ingram still performs even as an
You
older
want the
player.
sacks, Mike. I want the veteran knowledge of everything.
Oh, Melvin Ingram, even though he's older, much older than Frank Clark,
You,
actually,
you want those sacks.
still
numbers.
performs
He
at a
still
higher.
performs.
That's what he
level
wants.
consistently.
He wants the sack numbers. He wants the sack numbers,
I want
not the
Tanner. I want
not the defensive
efficiency.
percentage of pass protect or
You understand.
pass rushing.
I want efficiency. I want
Yeah,
your
you're
snaps
not looking
on the
at
field
You're
to
not
be
looking at the
quality.
percentage here.
I'll take.
You
but
want
dude, get out there.
You
Get
want
out there
sacks.
for
You want
250
sacks.
snaps.
Dude, it's
250
playoff
snaps.
Frank.
I'll be happy.
Just say you want
Do
sacks.
you not want playoff Frank? He shows up in the playoffs.
I will take 250 snaps on
All
the
right,
field
guys.
and be happy with
All
it.
right. We gotta wrap it up, guys. So everybody, drop a like, hit the subscribe button. Make sure you guys hit the bell so you guys can see when we're back live here for our In the Hoop on this weekend here. Also, like us on Spotify, give us a follow, helps with the channel. We post it, it'll be available the day after every podcast. So sometimes the day of, depends what time we record. So
And comment down below what would be your favorite Special Olympics sport to watch fighting in. So
Golden
I'd
State.
love to know more information about that.
Golden State is up 17-5. I hope you guys all bet your house on that
Eat shit,
game, like
Derek.
I told you to do. I told you to fucking do it. So if you didn't listen to me, I
All right.
can't help you now.
all right, guys, everybody have a fabulous week. We will catch you on the episode next Wednesday around the same time. Catch you later, guys.
Outro.
All right, I'll see y'all in the next one.
Outro.
See you guys.